All right, this one probably for the ladies more so than the gentlemen, but men, if you're there, you're welcome to stay. Just know I'm speaking to the women specifically today, so learn. But I'm talking to you from my not so fancy home office, which is actually in my kitchen, and then this is the front room behind me, and I'm filming here on purpose so that you can see the difference between the reality which you're creating inside of your mind and your physical reality which is behind you. Now you can see, right, I don't have fancy curtains up on the walls, and that's really not normal Nikki procedure. I do like to have my house nice. I don't think it's ever been fancy, but I like to have some sort of aesthetic appeal to it. And when I made the switch from working as a nurse to being my own boss, there was a lot of things that obviously changed with that, and one of which was the light tone in the house. My neighbor's getting a stone driveway put in over there, so you hear those guys shaving the stones. That's what's up. It's fun to watch. It's cool. But getting back to the point is that I initially had dark curtains because when I would come home, flip-flopping that days and night thing, I needed it to be dark so I could come home, go to sleep really quick, wake up, bounce back, and do, just a quick turnaround of shift because I was rotating shifts so frequently. And clearly that path, it's fine when you're younger, but then as you get older, you realize that you just don't like the maniac mode of that sort of a lifestyle. But needless to tell you, what I did was I pulled the curtains down. I chose not to put new ones up because I decided that I was going to be allocating my finances in a different direction. One was going to be, of course, towards business operations and using that capital to acquire different things that you need, whether it's technology or you need to hire some people to help you out or whatnot. But also, I had transitioned myself onto a cash budget long before I quit my job. So I already had the knowledge of what the expenses were, and I'm really awesome at rocking a budget. So those were the very first two things that I did when I was getting ready to make that switch, was already having that financial knowledge, not even know-how, the knowledge about where my expenses were at, and then establishing a budget both for my personal household and also then for the business. I did it side by side, and I made the executive decision that yes, could I take this $500 and go out and buy some curtains? Of course that I could, but what's going to give me a higher return on what it is that I'm looking to do, right? And so the choice was made. I'm buying $5 shades from Home Depot because I would much rather use that $500 to go do something else or put it in the bank and save it for a rainy day. And so what I'm telling you is that when you're making those powerful decisions, right? And granted, I have the luxury that I don't have anybody that I have to report to right now, so I have a lot more liberty with what I do with my physical environment than maybe you do at this particular time. But my circumstances are different from yours. My goals are different from yours, so we respect that 100%. But what I'm telling you is when you're making those powerful decisions to make a change, whatever the change is, sometimes the choices that you make are not going to be, who am I saying, screw this. Most of the time the choices that you make are not going to be congruent with what everybody else expects or what everybody else accepts. And you have to throw your hands up and I don't need to report to anybody. I do what I want. All right, and embrace that wholeheartedly, and then know once you get the things under control, and for me, I have a higher cash flow, then yes, I have no problem with putting curtains up on the wall. But in the meantime, it's staying true to the goals that you set, right, and making sure that you fill in all of that pre-planning and the back work to understand your financial situation as it stands and where you want to drive it in the future. right? Having that exposure is gonna help you markedly, I promise you. And then it always gets better. So you're having that blind faith that even though the external environment doesn't necessarily match with what you're envisioning inside of your head, know that when you commit to your process and you have some semblance of a plan to make that thing come true, when you consistently work, right, day after day, month after month, year after year, however long it takes, that eventually the two will match. So honor what it is that you know is right to do inside. Set yourself up for success from the get-go, and then just make it work.